You ever have a dumb idea? Like, let me just spitball here for a second. Let's say you have less than 24 hours before you leave to go fly across the nation to go climb the tallest peak in the lower 48. And then say to yourself, you know what I should do? I should record, edit, and upload my first ever YouTube video in that 24 hours. Have you ever had an idea like that? Because I have, and it was just a minute ago, and here we are. So anyways, welcome to my YouTube channel. We're going to talk about the gear that I am taking to go climb Mount Whitney. Now, it has been a couple years since I've climbed a tall mountain, and I've never filmed one properly. So the gear that I'm taking, everything is ultimately experimental. Though I've gone backpacking and I have summited enough peaks that I have an idea of what I'm getting into. So we're going to talk about the gear that I'm taking with me on the trip. I think I've got everything in the ballpark of where I need it to be. And of course, we'll find out. I'll do a follow-up video to see what gear worked and what didn't. But let's start with the fun part, which is, of course, the camera. What's going to look good here? B-roll is what's going to look good here. I am taking with me my Fuji X-H2S. I'm shooting this on a Sony FX30, which is a camera that I need to meme on at some point because I've had quite a journey with the FX30 and I'm probably going to sell it. But that's neither here nor there. So I'm shooting this on an FX30, but the camera I'm taking with me is a Fujifilm X-H2S. Now, I love Fujifilm. I love the color that you get from a Fujifilm. I love the feeling you get shooting on a Fuji, albeit less on the X-H2S than on, say, an X-T4, X-T5, something like that, with the dials for shutter speed, for ISO, and, you know, like the very analog feel of shooting on the XT series is not quite there on the XH series, but it's all right. It's awesome, and it brings a lot to the table, and I really like it. And then the lens that I've got on here, and I think this is the fun part, this is the Blazar Remus 35mm. 4 Super 35 sensors. Now, why this combination? So first of all, like I said, we got an FX30 that you're watching this from, and I got my X-H2S. I wasn't going to rent a camera for this, which most of my gigs I rent cameras because it's just the economics, you know? But of my personal cameras, between the FX30 and the Fuji, shooting on the Fuji inspires me more. I feel more creative when I shoot on the Fuji. It's just a feeling. They do the same things, and the color is... We're so spoiled in 2024 when it comes to the color on cameras. We're so spoiled. But this one makes me feel better. And when emotionally I feel better, I'm going to create things that are more in line with my emotional state of being. And so if I'm shooting on a camera that makes me feel good, I'm going to make better stuff. So that's what that is for me. I like shooting on the Fuji, but in particular, one thing that it's bringing to the table that I really like is its 6K 4x3 open gate. And you can see where this is going. It's in alignment with shooting on an anamorphic lens. You shoot an open gate, you get a few more pixels to work with. You're going to get a little bit more resolution out of your anamorphic image. There's a couple of reasons why I'm taking just this lens up the mountain. First of all, is weight savings, of course. You know, we got 22 miles of trekking to do, I think something like that. Yeah, 22 miles of trekking, and then we're gaining 6,000 feet of elevation, I believe. So weight savings is really important. At high altitude, you have less oxygen, you lose strength. Weight's really important. So I'm only taking one lens with me. And here's the deal. This is my first YouTube video, but I have been doing media production for 12 years professionally. And practically speaking, I started doing this when I was 10. You know, the pipeline of little kid in church to life career in media is very real. So I have been doing media production. I have been putting a meaningful portion of my brain power towards media production for as long as I can remember. I'm bored. I often find myself quite bored with what I am doing. And I was talking to some guys that I coach about media production, and I was telling them how challenges grow us. And it occurred to me in that moment that what I need in my own journey of being an artist in media, in video, is challenges. I need parameters. I need boundaries in which I have to stay, because that challenge will actually grow me creatively. Whereas having all the tools and having all the options doesn't force me to grow. It doesn't force me to change my perspective. It doesn't force me to work harder to find the way through with what it is that I have. And in this case, it's a fixed focal length and anamorphic. I've never shot an anamorphic before. I've done a lot of studio work. I've done a lot of documentary stuff and live production. None of that stuff requires anamorphic. And so a fixed anamorphic lens is an excellent tool to force me to refine my vision when I'm actually there shooting on the mountain. And I believe it's going to be a really awesome aesthetic for how it actually looks. Of course, the jury's out on that. We'll see when I get back. I'll make a video about it when I get back. And then I got the DZO Film Octopus adapter on here. I took one of the octopus tentacles. I took one of the arm pieces off of it because I noticed when I was shooting handheld with this, that arm really got in the way of my grip. So I just took it off. And then there's a few other pieces that I've taken off just for weight savings. It's not a lot of weight, but you do what you can when you know you're going to be carrying all this stuff on your shoulders the whole way up. All right, so that's the camera and lens setup. There's a few other pieces of gear that I'm taking with me that I'm excited about, that I think are going to work well for the trip. The first one are these, the Falcam F series plates. I have the plate on here on the camera, and I have the backpack strap attachment, and I have one on my monopod. Well, it's a monopod to you and I videographers. It's a trekking pole that has a monopod top plate on it. I'll show you that in a second. I have one on just a plain strap, and I have one on a small sling bag. So wherever I am, whatever bag I'm carrying, I'll be able to clip the camera on there. And what's very nice is the tripod that I have also accepts these plates. This tripod is the iFootage Gazelle TC3B, and I am immensely impressed with it. It's carbon fiber, it weighs 3.6 pounds, and it's got all the features that you would want in a tripod, including a fluid head the size of a credit card, practically. I mean, the length and height of a credit card, but not the depth of a credit card. This is going really well. It's the tiniest fluid head. Here's a reference point. This is an iPhone SE or a 13 mini. It's the size of an SE. It's the same case, whatever. This is the smallest iPhone that you can get. And here is the fluid head. Like, this fluid head is so small, but it works. It functions properly like a fluid head. I'm very impressed with it. And then it's carbon fiber. You have 4 locking sections. The balancing section has a proper bowl head with this knob right here will balance it. So untwist and then balance as you like. Again, I'm really impressed with the amount of features that are packed into this small and this light of a package. I'm not worried about carrying this up the mountain because I'm getting a full featured video tripod for 3.6 pounds. I have this guy, my favorite brand that went defunct. All my favorite brands go out of business, or all my favorite products stop being made, and then I have to hunt them down to buy them. I'll make a video about that someday because there are so many things that I own that I have hunted down to buy after the company went out of business or stopped making the product. I might have a problem. Anyways, this is the Click Elite camera holster, and what's cool about this is you've got these straps here, and there are clip attachments that will attach to any backpack and let me clip in here. So I wear this as a front harness, just kind of like this. So I'll be able to pull the camera in and out. Now, I don't necessarily need that entirely, except that should it rain, do we get, caught in a rainstorm, that kind of thing, I want to have some weather protection for the camera and lens. The other thing that I have on this lens that I forgot to talk about is I got the Nisi Swift VND system. Got the black mist on here and the 1 through 4, and I'll take the 5 through 8 with me depending on what I need to get, so I can keep a nice shutter speed on here. And it just, you know what, it looks nice on this lens. Like it's fitting on the silver Blazar Remus lens and the silver of the Nisi VND. It looks good. I have black diamond trekking poles, but they do not have a threaded top handle. Whereas this one that I picked up, this is Cascade Mountain Tech, which I'm pretty sure is kind of a sketch brand, but that's not really the point. This is the only one that I could find at a reasonable price that had a threaded top handle. So if it falls apart, so be it. It falls apart, I'll use the tripod. But hopefully it works. And what I've got on top of here is a Falcam plate, another F38 plate on the top of the trekking pole. So if while we are hiking, I want to quickly grab a steady shot, because this lens has no image stabilization in it. The IBIS in the Fuji is all right. It's not amazing, but again, we're stabilizing for anamorphic. I'll take as much steadiness as I can get. So this trekking pole will also serve as a monopod for on-the-trail shots. So that's my setup for the mountain. I will report back when this is done, what worked, what didn't work, how did things go, and of course, there will be a video of the actual trek, and that should be a good time. But until the next video, I'll see you around.